monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. Public safety telecommunicators of the Elizabethtown Police Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals. Thank you. Each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Therefore, I, Edna Berger, Mayor of the City of Elizabethtown, do hereby proclaim the week of April the 12th through 18th, 2015, to be National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Elizabethtown in honor of Daryl Bringers, Billy Joe Haycraft, Chris Lee, Lisa Conley, Adam Sipes, Melissa McGuffin, Alicia Whitaker, Nicole Lanford, and Ethan Jones, whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Thank you all. I think we have one for each of you. And for the ones who weren't here, can you all thank you. Thank you very much, young lady. I think you're the newest one. Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Young man, nice to see you again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Now they're gonna get a speech.
Yeah, each one of 10 minutes.
Good thing is you don't have to sit through the rest of the meeting.
I will remind you the chief is here though, so you may want to.
Yeah.
That give them an excuse to have.
Do you all want to say anything?
I'm getting the look.
Go ahead.
Come on. Yeah. He's never been shy.
My name is Chris Lee. I'm one of the dispatchers down there. Being a dispatcher for E-Town has been a tremendous opportunity, and I think every one of us would agree. I know I've worked at a lot of places my entire life, and I've never worked at any place quite like E-Town. And I really appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve our community and make a difference in the people's lives that we get to talk to and touch every day. All right, so thank you.
Chris, got a question.
Yes, sir.
What one call do you remember more than any others?
Well, I don't know if this is an appropriate place.
Oh, don't worry about it.
So,
It's a work session.
well, you know, I that's
The city attorney's here to protect.
no. There's so many different ones, you know, and so many of them, you know, you just kind of run through, and you know, you're making sure you're doing it right. You're getting the response going, and you know, you don't really have a lot of breaks sometimes. You know, you get one, and then in the middle of that one, you got another one popping up. So as soon as you clean up this one here and make sure it's taken care of, you just kind of go back and forth. So it's hard for me to pin down one specifically that takes out, but I always enjoy the ones that you can laugh about later.
Yeah.
You know, so, and you know, if you've ever been around dispatchers very long, you know, we're all kind of warped, you know, because you know, in this kind of a business, your sense of humor is your best asset. Even though most people probably think you're kind of sick in the head, some of the things that you laugh at, but I mean, you'd go nuts if you didn't, I think. So,
Yeah.
so
They have a sense of humor. Thank you.
Thank
very
you all for
much.
your service.
Yeah,
thanks.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mike Conchola, did I pronounce that right? Good, beautiful name.
Okay.
Thank you.
We,
Thank you very much. I did.
Read everything but the editorials.
I didn't read those either, were they? Those are good.
Like I said, my name is Mike Canchola. I'm with Kentucky Motorcycle Association. This is my associate, Paul Sabalski. He's a member also. And we're here to talk to you all about motorcycle awareness. As you may or may not know, May is Motorcycle Awareness Month. So that's coming up. And we're bringing all this together to accumulate during May. I know you all have a bike, blues, and barbecue thing going on here, very successful over the few years. So I know there's a big community motorcycle event going on, and we're here to talk about motorcycle accidents. Hardin County is number 6, as if you know on the paper. So I won't go with all these details, but basically we're here to solicit funds to install these signs. What you have in front of you is a copy of the picture of the sign. It is a 2-part emblem. I have a vendor that makes them. We've done this all over the state, particularly Oldham, Carroll County, and those signs run about $100 a piece, minus hardware, which is post and bolts, basically. So those 2-part signs are $100 a piece. So we would like to ask you for funds for these signs. We think with E-Town, approximately 6 signs should cover all the major Ring Road, 62, Dixie Highway. That's it. 2 on each entryway into your city. There's also a copy there, the KRS 177, that goes about how to acquire these signs. You actually do a permit through the Department of Transportation over at the district office over here with Ms. Dunaway. After that, then you all will purchase the signs through the vendor, and then I'm assuming your highway department will install them. And the other part on that was a map. I think that was also included. That's this past year's, all the incidents that occurred last year, and that's taken from the KSP website of all the accidents that occurred. And majority of them, I think there were 17 last year, happened within the city limits. So we feel like these signs can reduce the numbers even more, if not even bring awareness to the motorcycles out there in your community. So do you have any questions?
I was going to ask John, you normally take care of all of our signs. Is it possible, I don't know if you use a different vendor, but that we could have them lesser expensive than $100?
I haven't seen the literature. One thing I was talking to Ed coordinated with the local bicycle club, and the bicycle club purchased the signs, and then we would set them. The other thing, and he was correct in saying you have to get permission from the highway department.
Right.
So location and how close it is to the edge of their roads. I mean, they would determine where we could set them.
Mhm.
We have to get a permit from them, but just want to point that out. I haven't seen the literature, so I don't know what these cost compared to our vendors.
What we're doing here, we're not trying to add more signs to E-Town. When there knows plenty of them around as there is. We're trying to save some lives. Your fatality rate went up 300% last year, from 13 to 14. You went from 1 fatality in 2013 to I believe it was 4 last year.
This is Hardin County, not.
Just
I was
Hardin
gonna say,
County.
that's not
Yeah,
city
just Hardin
limits.
County.
Yeah, so-
But we evolved Hardin County, and a major chunk of it sitting right here in E-Town, and this is one of our major deals. You have approximately 3,300 motorcycles registered in Hardin County. Big chunk of them again right here in Elizabethtown. Referring to what this gentleman just got through saying, one thing we're trying to do is to get people to start focusing. I went to a over 55 driving class 15 years ago. I wasn't quite 55 yet, but I went there anyway. And the number of people that were in the class were 60 or older at the time. I had a question for them, and out of 35 people or so there, less than 3 of them had ever been on a motorcycle. And generally speaking, they don't look for motorcycles because the fact that 40 years ago when they got a license, there probably wasn't 24 motorcycles in the city of Elizabethtown. So needless to say, they rarely ever saw one of them. So since the helmet modification bill in 1998, there's been an explosion of motorcycle registrations in the state of Kentucky. We had 36,000 bikes registered in 1998. We now have almost 120,000 motorcycles registered. That's almost a 4-fold increase. And what we're trying to do here is make people more aware. And we believe if we can make them aware of, start looking for bikes, because a lot of people have this thing, they see pickup trucks, they see tractor trailers, they see other cars, but they don't think about motorcycles. But the same thing is, if they start looking for bikes, motorcycles, they might start looking for bicyclists as well, because they're actually at more peril than we are because they're smaller. You know, and somebody like Daryl Isaacs, as big as he has, got run over on River Road up there, by golly, you know that it's really tough for anybody out there. And that's our main goal here, is to save some lives and save some injuries. Now, paying for the signs, I know you're probably running, your little wheels are spinning. Well, how can we afford these signs? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of good suggestions. You've got 4 motorcycle outlets in the city of Elizabethtown. Open Road, you've got Wheels for Fun, you've got the new Dan Powers Honda shop, and you've got Wilson's right over here. I guarantee you, one of those shops fall in one of your jurisdictions. You could go by with your information that we just handed you and ask them, would you like to sponsor a sign? I guarantee you they'll jump on board. Another thing is insurance companies. I called my insurance agent and asked him, I said, if you could you sponsor one of these signs? It took him about a half a second to say yes, because who else besides the individuals who are victims and the insurance companies are taking the beating? The insurance companies and the individuals who are getting hurt out here, and they would definitely jump on board. All states already put some signs up in Louisville for us, and we're working that deal because it's to their advantage to spend $100. It might be save them 100,000. So that's another thing. So if you're looking at alternatives, all of you probably have insurance agents, I hope, and ask them, would you be interested in sponsoring a sign? I almost bet you money marbles of chalk they'll jump on board and buy a sign, and it won't cost the city a penny. So that's just my suggestion to you to help cover, to defray some of these costs, and then you can deal with the transportation department as to where these signs may or may not go. But we just hope to cut the carnage down. There's just too many accidents. There's 56 last year in the city or in the Hardin County area, and we're thinking we need to get this number down. I come to your barbecue festival down here, and that's another thing that you might want to consider, is that when bikers, and I'm one of them, see things like that, a sign that says, we care about you. And I'm gonna tell you what it does. It'll attract business to your city and also to your county, because motorcycles will say, hey, we can go to E-Town over there and have some lunch or dinner or whatever the case may be, because they feel like, hey, you guys might care about us a little bit. So that's another thing to take in consideration. But do any of you have any more questions or anything we can answer for you?
You mentioned just 6 signs.
That's all we're asking.
About 6
We
signs.
think
Yeah.
if you all get on board, Radcliffe gets on board, and we can get Hardin County, we'll have everybody pitch in 6 signs, we'll cover the whole county.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. So these 6 signs would be in the city, and then you'd approach the county.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
We already had approached the county, and then they said the majority of the accidents are occurring in Radcliffe and E-Town, and that falls out of their jurisdiction. So that's why we're here today, because
They don't realize we're located in
We're
Hardin
in
County. Don't
Hardin
tell
County.
them.
that's what I thought. But, I'm not gonna,
Yeah. You have the misfortune of having Dixie Dyway run right through the middle of your town, just like Radcliffe does. And I know Mike Weaver over there is actually waiting to see what you all are going to do.
I would hope that we could work together with this Radcliffe and Hardin County and come together and maybe even get a better deal on all the signs. If you have a better vendor even, that'd be wonderful.
But then you said that, or Don said, or you all said, the Department of Transportation, if we authorize the 6, they will determine where they'll go.
Exactly.
Actually, in the permit process, the permits actually ask for the locations. So if I were you, I'd work with local law enforcement to get those locations down.
Right. Because they know where most of your accidents are concentrated. And that's where you want to sort of concentrate your signs. And that way, maybe we get somebody to start thinking. If we can, if you read the newspaper article, one thing I made a comment is that the text message folks are new drunk drivers, and basically that's what it amounts to. It used to be that you had about 1 out of 100 drivers out there you were facing that might be drunk behind the wheel. Now we're facing about 1 out of every 3. And it's really a sad situation. It's not just us, it's everybody. Pedestrians, your pet, your children in the crosswalk, because they're doing this. And they're not paying attention. I pulled out from down here by the other day, and there was a lady on the phone, talking on the phone, and she's got one hand with the phone, the other hand's doing this, and I don't know who's holding on the steering wheel, but the car's going down the road at 20 miles an hour on Dixie Highway. That's almost like a death wish. You know what I'm saying? I thought somebody had one of those big trucks with a bumper. They just pushed her up in the ditch and kept going. But no, she held up traffic for half a mile, so 20 miles an hour.
The permit's just a matter of paperwork.
Mhm.
That's just pretty much a formality. Working with, when the city works with the state highway department, it's almost a done deal. So basically, once we secure funds, the rest of it's just a matter of dotting the i's, crossing the t's.
Total of $600 or even less than that, I think it's a good investment on the part of the city. I'd like
Right.
for us to.
And you've got your blues and barbecue thing
Yeah.
coming on, and I know doggone well, and y'all make a few dollars more off of that deal. Nothing else, put the Elizabethtown JC's out there selling soda pop, water, and beer, and I guarantee you, they'll pay for the signs in about one afternoon, just
We
like
do it,
that.
You can tell the other entities that Elizabethtown's gonna do it. So you
Yes.
can use that as a push.
Exactly,
Yes, exactly.
exactly. 'Cause
Well, we're gonna do it in honor of
There you go.
Councilmember Bishop. He got run
I
over
might
on
still
his
have my
motorbike,
bike
didn't
if
you?
it wasn't for that.
There you go.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. We don't want you getting run over anymore. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Well, she won't be
Thank
able to
you
get
all
up.
very
Thank
much.
Thank you much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Mike Carroll and Scott Reynolds want to talk about bids on a swimming
I'm
pool.
going to start.
Okay.
And I think Mike's going to come up and talk a little bit, and I think Seth might have a little bit of input into this as well. So I think, I'm not sure everybody knows, but back in February, we accepted our rebids for the pool. We received 4 bids from 3 companies. I think you all were copied on that bid tab at the time. We got a general contractor bid from Jenkins Essex, a pool bid only from RL Turner, and then McNutt gave us a general contractor bid and a combined bid for the pool and the general trades. That combined bid was the lowest of all those combinations that we could put together at $4,354,000 for the pool and the building. Since then, we've been working on getting that price down as far as we can. And I'm not sure you all were given, I'm trying to figure out the pricing that we received from McNutt. I'm not sure if you all received that or not. So I'm going to let Mike come up here and talk about the details involved in this pricing, because he's been working with McNutt to try to get the price down as low as we can. So we've been looking at all the value engineering, what changes need to be made for the pool. So hopefully we can progress and start construction on the pool as soon as possible. So I'm going to let Mike come up and talk about these changes. Yes, sir. That's the one you sent me.
It is.
Okay.
It is the one I sent you. Thank you. What Scott just passed out to you is a value engineering list. We tried to start negotiating with McNutt to try to get the price of this project down from their bid price. And I think the thing that we tried to do was preserve the pool itself. You'll notice that in this list of 15 to 20 odd items, we've taken about $335,000 worth of work out of the contract, but none of these relate to the pool. We haven't made any changes to the pool itself, to the pool or the features of the size of the pool, the depth of the pool, the lazy river, the deep area for training, the slide. None of that has been touched, and that was kind of the focus of what we were trying to do. But we did take a lot of individual smaller items, as you can see down this list. And I think the only one the largest one on there is taking out the concession stand from the pool, which was something that you don't really do now anyway. And it was something that we had probably advocated more than anything, but we will have a place for vending machines up there. And we did keep the party room in the pool house, which is one of the features that we talked about as being a benefit to the pool, where people can actually come rent this and have birthday parties and have things like that at the swimming pool itself. So I'm not going to go down through each one of these items. If you have any questions about them or any questions about
I
it.
do. I just came on council in January,
Okay.
and what I've heard is the city had a budget of $2.5 million.
Mhm.
Why are we at 4 million?
Well, we started at 2.5 million. We've added a lot of things since the 2.5 million.
Right, but Was there ever a proposal for 2.5 million as a pool?
Well, our original scope was based upon a $2.5 million.
And it's gone to 4 now.
Well, it's at 4 now. This is still over our estimate. I will acknowledge that. It's more than, but we added the lazy river was not in that $2.5 million.
Right.
The deep part of the pool, some of those things weren't in that original budget.
But how come through this process? Because when we met with you all, based on your low estimate, okay, to design this, we said we had 2.5 million. I never heard, even sitting up there when those first bids came back, and the excuse that it was way over budget then was not that we added a bunch of stuff, but it was that we had highway construction prevailing wage.
Correct.
And the time frame that we were asking for it to be completed was not adequate, and everybody had placed their fines in that bid.
Agreed.
And then on your advice then, to rebid it, that we were gonna get it back down. We never, ever, I just think we got sucker punched here. Because we said 2.5 million is the budget we're operating in, and I think that you all have done enough pools to know that there was no way we were gonna hit that 2.5.
Well, again, that 2.5 million, you know, when we met with council and discussed putting the project back out for bid, all of those things were in it. The $2.5 million was not our estimate at that point in time. So that was, you know, again, the lazy river was added to the project. That was not in the original $2.5 million estimate. Yes, I really thought we could get some of those prices down. When we bid the project the first time, we talked to the contractors who bid at that time, and that was the feedback that we got from them, is that we could not do this project within the amount of time that you gave us to do it. And yes, we had these high wage rates in there. Those were the two most pertinent facts that we gathered from trying to talk to the contractors at that point in time.
But
Now-
we've eliminated both of
removed
those.
We have taken them out. I'm
And
not,
the price
and
hasn't come down.
the price has not come down that significantly from that aspect at all.
How much was the lazy river?
The lazy river,
And that was over and above the 2.5 million because the tourism bureau
Yeah,
agreed to
we
pay
knew
for
that was
that.
above that.
yeah,
So that doesn't even enter into
the
this.
lazy river, I believe was pushing about $400,000 is what it was.
And that was over and above the 2.5 million. So you still had 2.5 million for
Mike,
the other.
remember when we met, when we decided to rebid it?
Mhm.
What was our bid at that time? In other words, it came in too high, so we said, wait a minute, let's take out some of these restrictions and let's rebid it.
And if I'm not correct, that was before the lazy river too, wasn't it, Jerry?
No, that
No,
was,
lazy
No,
lazy
but the
river was
lazy
in.
But it was in that?
Even
Nothing
though,
to do with
but
it.
that lazy
I know.
river's easy enough to break out.
I know.
That number was about 4.6 then.
4.6,
Yeah.
okay.
Is there not such thing as a $2.5 million pool?
Yes, there is.
But then add the 400 for the
Right.
lazy river. So then we'd be close
But
to 30.
what I'd like to focus on is the $4.6 million estimates is what we had at that time. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the things was the insurance rating. When we asked for it to be bid, we were going at a heavy construction type rating. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we knew, or we were told that when we redid this, that would save us money. I mean, that was a fact, that would save us money.
That-
Okay.
Yes.
And then we also knew that the contractors had told us, you all have asked for too much, the time restrictions are too tight. Therefore, we knew we were gonna be fined and have to pay a penalty, so we just put the fine and the penalties in with our bid.
Correct.
So we knew for a fact that we were gonna save monies from the contractors. Okay, from the 4.6, what did it go down to?
I can't give you an exact number, but I mean, we went from the 4.6 to the 4.3 number without really making any changes to the pool itself. I mean, we made a couple of minor changes to the pool, but we didn't, you know, if you approach it from that standpoint, it's about that $300,000 in there because
What we saved by rebidding.
correct.
And that's what's gotten us to the 4.3 that you just now mentioned.
Right.
Okay.
You know, and I'm a straight up guy, Mike, I think why I feel like we were sucker punched is this, is that the contract we did with you all for that amount was based on a pool of 2.5 million. And there are provisions in there that if it's over that, there's more money paid to you all.
Correct.
And so in reality, I can't help from thinking that you all knew all along, you're not going to get this at 2.5 million. And my contract, while it appears to be the lowest today, I'm going to make my money back up because there's no way they can do this price.
I can't stand here and argue with you about that point. That's just not the way we approach business. I really believe that that pool as originally proposed could be done for $2.5 million. And, you know, and if you would like to go back to that concept and bid it again at $2.5 million, we're willing to do it. I mean, we came here and proposed to do a good job for you folks, and that's what we still intend to do. And if that's the $2.5 million that we've got to do it, we're willing to do it. We'll go back and scrap all the plans we've done and start again and just go after that $2.5 million pool. We can do that.
Personally, I think that's what we need to
That's
do,
what needs
because
to be
from the
done.
very get-go, I think all of us were of the opinion 2.5 million was the maximum, and I think if that's what it requires to go back to step one, you said you all could do that. I think, 2.5 million is what we've got to build the pool,
How much of this?
and I'd like to go back to ground floor.
How much of this is the building? Not the pool, but, with the party room?
The building is probably about $700,000 to $800,000.
Because I remember that being a great
A big
big ticket
expense.
item when it came in. And so I guess what I'm trying to get back to is if we're at 4.3 and we know that we added the lazy river, that was our addition to the thing. So what is that, 300?
400.
400, so
Okay.
you're at 3 million.
So we'd be at 3 million versus, so we're $500,000 above a $2.5 million pool?
Probably. Well, no, take that back. That's, again, we added a deep diving well section to the pool that wasn't in that $2.5 million section. And after I said that, I thought the only thing I can't go back and reclaim is we had to increase the size of the building over that original projection because we had to add plumbing fixtures to this. Now, previously, in my 30 years of doing pools in this state, we've always been able to get a waiver on the number of plumbing fixtures that you put in buildings because people don't use them. I mean, they're not really used at pool houses. But we had to increase the size of the building and increase the number of plumbing fixtures in there. And that was just an unknown that hit us, that did hit us blindside. So, I'd want to rationalize that in terms of the $2.5 million or whatever estimate we decided to come up with.
Really, I remember the number on the building surprised me a great deal because it's not a fancy building.
No, it's not a fancy building at all. I mean, and it's a very expensive building. There's a lot of plumbing in that building. There's no studs and drywall. It's all masonry construction for the purpose that it's going to serve. It's epoxy paint. It's an expensive building to build.
So I think what you guys are saying is, Scott, we're down to 4.3 million. We can get it to 4, but we have to give up these items.
But we don't feel that these items, besides the concession stand, hurt the integrity of the project at all.
But even if we give up these items, it doesn't take it down to what we said we've got budgeted for the pool. I say we go back to ground floor and say we've got $2.5 million. Mike, you said you could do it?
We'll do it. I mean, we're
How long is, let me just ask you a question. How long is that design going to take?
it's going to take a couple months. I mean,
So
you're
we're gonna
starting
take-
over. You're starting
we're
over.
gonna take
No, we're
4 or
We've
5
already said we
months.
weren't gonna do it this summer anyway, so we've got,
I'm just letting you know, if we take 4 or 5 months to design it and bid it and come back to you all,
Then you're talking about
Then-
another year.
then we're talking about construction in October, November.
but we've already said it was gonna be not
Well, you
No,
have
but
to
what he's
design
saying,
it.
About
he's saying
another.
you're adding another year.
No,
We had a concept design at the very beginning, but the drawings evolved as we moved forward, and that's the drawings we have now. So there's really not drawings to go back.
so it wouldn't take it wouldn't take that long. Is
No,
it-
no, it would, because
Oh.
we're
that's what I asked. They didn't have
we're
to
going
do
back
that.
and starting all over.
Okay, what if, the pool committee, you all are up here, there's 3 of you
Yes.
up here now. What if can the pool committee meet very quickly within the next week and
Okay.
can you,
I guess I'll be here every day too.
we can't, no, not every day.
Yes, because 2.5, and that's what I was hearing in the community, is they just wanted a pool. I mean, they really wasn't looking at anything extra until we started adding a little bit.
I agree with Ron. I think we should go back to the 2.5.
I do too. And say that's what we've got.
They need to give us a bid or show us what we can get for 2.5 and go from there.
Exactly. I agree.
And add
That's
the
what we
lazy
said.
rivers.
We got that as an option. We know what that is.
Yes.
Right, and the Tourism Bureau graciously agreed to
Right.
pay for that. So, all right, let's do that. Let us set up a meeting of the pool committee, and it'll be easier to iron out that way.
Just real quick, did the depth change that you made in it originally for the diving, did that make a tremendous difference as well?
There's no diving.
There's no diving, there's no diving, but a deeper section of the pool was added for training, for lifeguard training and
Right.
things like.
The Red Cross.
Red Cross
requested
came to us
that.
and asked us for
Yeah.
that deeper.
Yeah. It originally was a 4.5 foot deep.
Sure they do. They get blown away all the time. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Huh? Okay,
I
We will
misunderstood.
swim
I was going
again.
off the board myself. I thought-
um,
I didn't know.
Miss Betty Long would like to address the council. Well, we
done
have
those
been
releases,
working on
it'd be fixed.
eliminating that.
Already been signed.
Okay.
I haven't
Good
got
deal.
anything more done.
Oh,
This
Miss
is,
Long, we're here working every day.
Yeah, right. This is wonderful. Betty Long, 307 Poplar Drive. Elizabethtown is very affluent. Unfortunately, not everybody's affluent in Elizabethtown. You know, there are people in certain parts of this city that have raw sewage in their yards, ladies' products floating around for their children to see. And you all talk about from $2.5 million to $4 million and concerned it's going to take another year when people are living in that kind of condition. There's something wrong here. There's something very wrong. You know, you're going to do what you want to do, but I don't think you ought to do it with a clear conscience. People are in danger of disease because of sewage. It really bothers me because I hear about swimming pools, a sports park. You're scared you're gonna go past another year. People are floating in their basements and in their yard with sewage. It's wrong.
Miss Long, this city
No,
has-
I hear people say, I haven't finished yet, and then I'll let you have the floor.
All right.
Thank you. I hear people say they don't care, and I've been here, so I know you care. I'm coming, and I believe some of you care. Some of you don't understand because you don't understand what it is to have that kind of problem. We have a major issue of health throughout the world today. We don't know when our nation is going to be struck, but it's certainly not helping with raw sewage in people's yards. There's, Moon Street, Haycraft. I don't live there, but I still care. Some of you all care. You ought to go over and visit when it rains. Go into some of those basements. I want to know how far you've come on Poplar Drive. I don't think that much has been done. Unfortunately, when I was going to add 2 accidents, I haven't been able to be here. But it's awful that somebody has to come and be like a thorn in order to get something done that's not a swimming pool or tennis court, or to figure out how to get more drunks in town.
I was raised on Poplar Drive,
Then you know the flooding.
207. I know it well.
You know it. And after 30-some years, it is ridiculous that
Well,
it's
at
still
that
going
time, we didn't
on.
have planning and zoning.
Well,
and they developed a street on a creek.
Well,
So
the
that's part of it,
problem with
yeah.
that is all the new stuff that you're bringing is coming down to Poplar Drive. And somebody somewhere ought to know that enough to care. How much more sewage are you going to bring in? You can't handle what we got. We cannot handle it. Yes, I've signed something. I got a letter when I was in rehab saying if I didn't sign, I was going to get sued or some such nonsense. So don't tell me I haven't signed a release, because I have. And you're not concerned, I don't see, how far have you gotten past the time when it first started? Not very far. I think somebody got $15,000 for property or something. I guess that's why the release had to be signed, so that they could hurry and get their money. I'm mad.
Ms.
And I
Long, when's
think
the
more,
last time your-
I
when's the
think
last
more
time your basement
citizens,
flooded?
about 2 weeks ago.
Do you have a backflow
About,
preventer put in?
no, because,
And you didn't participate in the city program?
oh, yes,
for
oh,
the ci-
yes,
to
that's
put
not
that in?
true. You don't know what you're talking
Did
about.
you put it in?
You don't know what you're
I'm
talking about.
asking you if you put a backflow
You
preventer in.
haven't heard. I
Okay.
don't have the, see, you're interrupting me on something I live in.
I just asked if you put a backflow preventer in, did you take advantage of the city program?
The
help
city
install them?
program was not, when the list came out, it was not available to me. I am now getting nights to put one in at my expense, so you don't know. I appreciate your,
I would encourage you not to spend all that money. because
How
the
am
city
I-
has that 50% participation. with
well,
it.
they didn't give it to me. They gave it to other people, and look at their list. You look at their list of disbursements. You don't have to believe me. Look at the list. It's public information. That's why I'm going to get
Yes.
another copy. And you look at it and you tell me if I didn't participate.
Did you participate in the backflow program? That's you.
Yes, sir.
Where's your list?
Let me address a few things, if y'all don't mind. There's a program that's been in place for years. It goes back 5 or 6, 7 years now, in which anybody in the city anybody in the city, no matter where they live, the city will purchase 50% of their backflow preventer and the installation of that backflow preventer. That's not a program that we keep from anybody. With Ms. Long, and I don't want to argue with you, but I think you're a little confused.
I'm not
Between-
confused. I might be old, but I'm not
Okay.
confused.
I just think we have two different things working here. We have the Poplar Drive project, in which we needed easements, and you were given $400 for your easement. Some people along on that street decided to put in a backflow preventer instead of taking money from
They
the
got
city.
it in addition to the money.
No,
Get your
no, ma'am.
report.
No, ma'am.
Where's your report?
It's right here.
I got another
so-
sheet showing something else.
So
I got something
we
else.
have, and I counted these earlier, I'm counting them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people along the street that instead of getting paid any money at all, they're going to receive a backflow preventer during the project.
That's not what
It's
your
not-
receipt says. That's not what the records say that I have access to.
So those people will have a backflow preventer installed during the project.
And we pay the full cost of it?
Yes,
Instead of
and
paying-
for the easement, we decided, hey, we'll offer you a backflow preventer installed during the construction project, or money for your easement. That's what the council and engineering and administration all decided during that process. So we have 9 people that are in that situation. That's outside of the normal program that the city has had for 6 or 7 years now, where we help the installation of backflow preventers. Like I said, we've had that program for going on 7 years. I don't have the information for exactly how many people have signed up, but the number is less than 50 across the city have participated with the city to install backflow preventers, because we don't want sewer in people's basements any more than we want.
We installed one, I think, in the late 60s and never had a problem again.
Right.
with Backup.
Ask.
Now,
Hey,
we had seepage from the.
Right.
older
I have
house.
one in my house, you all.
We
It's
never had standing.
You don't live on Poplar Drive.
right, but the sewer in my neighborhood,
Yeah.
Are
No,
the sewer in my neighborhood backs up. So at least
you
it
talking about
used
sewage
to.
outside?
I'm talking about sewage in your basement.
See,
And
Right.
there's also sewage in people's yards. That is unacceptable. I don't care where you live. If you live in Timbuktu, that shouldn't be acceptable.
Well, if you have the backflow preventer.
No,
it could keep it from backing.
I've talked to different
Ours was.
plumbers. I talked to different plumbers. I've talked to them. They said it cannot guarantee that you don't get sewage. If you ask some of them, it said you have to know when the city is
Well, all I could
overflowing.
go by is 207.
Well, I don't know about 207. How long ago did you live there?
My parents moved there in 1961.
How long you been gone?
My mom died in '07.
Okay, since '07, a lot's happened.
It's gotten worse.
It's gotten much worse.
I can't imagine
It, trust me,
with
it's
retention
much
basins all up
worse.
the road.
and the first time I came here, I had to go through 2 yards just to get to a place where I could walk down to get into my flooded car.
Let me just,
You know,
let me say a few more
I know
things.
one thing.
Go ahead.
I realize that
The-
that the record that I am getting does not compare with what you're telling me, because it shows that people got backflow preventers plus getting money, and that's not the problem. I was in the hospital, I was in a wreck, I got this, nobody says it's either or. Nobody told me that. I did talk to I've been here before about the backflow preventer, and I think it was Attorney Shaw there, they wrote up something because I was told that I had to do all this stuff, and it had to be, and they didn't even know how they were gonna check it, if they didn't do it, what the consequences were, because you don't have any records on what to do about it, any procedure. I don't have to lie. I'm a grown woman.
I don't have to lie either.
anybody. The records speak for themselves.
I-
I'm
What's your
gonna,
record, Mrs. Long?
public information, public information.
Let me just add a few things for Miss Long, so you all can understand where we are. We're at 95% construction documents. They are in the hands of the state. The State Division of Water has those plans. They're reviewing those. A few things to let you all know. The funding for this project is through the Kentucky Infrastructure Act. So it's KIA funding. It's a loan we've had, trying to use all that funding money. So we can't use the money we have for this sewer project on anything else. It is for sewer projects and sewer projects only. And that way we can spend money on not only Poplar Drive, but it covers several projects. Poplar Drive, Village, Moon, Pierce, Industrial Foundation area, Harvard Drive. So it's not just Hawkins Drive. It has Hawkins Drive. It has Bush Lane in it.
Yes,
So
and all
we're
that.
trying to fix all of our problems that we currently have. And sewer is, as you all know, as it gets older, it gets harder to maintain. A lot of these areas have clay tile, clay pipe. In years and years and years after roots get in that system, they become harder to maintain. So we have to replace them after so many years. Village Drive goes all the way up to Pear Orchard Road. That is some of the oldest sewer the city has. It's been in the ground for 60 and 70 years. There's a gentleman out there I had to get an easement from. He was there before they had sewer systems out there, and he was there. He's still in that same house now, and we're about to replace that sewer for the, first installation and replacing that sewer now. So the plans are almost ready to go. They're 95%. They're at Division of Water. We're hoping to bid this out this year. So
How many
not
years
only
has it
this one,
been?
We can't go back. We can't go
cannot
back.
go
All we
back.
can do is continue
You
to go
can- that
forward,
is
Ms. Long.
Absolutely true.
And you can
I
harp on us
appreciate it.
all you want.
I'm not
We are
harping
doing
on
all
you,
we
Mayor,
can,
but
okay?
You can't tell me if you got $4 million for a swimming pool.
He just
that-
told you we can't spend the sewer money on a swimming pool.
You
That
shouldn't
has
have
nothing to
to.
do with
You
it.
shouldn't have to. You take the
Okay,
swimming pool
we're
and it's
dismissed.
$1
Good
million.
night. Thank you all.
I'm sorry you're upset, but this is the
Ms. Long,
problem.
We
This is
are
the
doing all
problem.
we can.
No, not if it.
Do you know how long we waited for you to sign an easement?
I signed the easement. I was in the hospital.
Hey, I had the time of my life swimming in the basement.
Everything.
Mayor, my wife and I own 2 houses, 105, 107 Thomas Street. I applaud the work the city of Elizabethtown is doing for our